weekend that we spent. In the summer of 1987, I was 28 years old, and there was this major astrological alignment that everybody who was the least bit New Agey was talking about. Back then, I was a 5.5 foot, 150 pound, walking, talking, meditating, chanting, full-blooded granola bar. So, I was in the loop. The first person I wanted to tell was my 22-year-old friend, Bruce. Hey, Bruce, have you heard about this harmonic convergence thing? Yes, Mahesh, I have. Bruce lived in Marin. They heard about everything first. So that's the thing with the 6 planets lined up, and everybody's supposed to have a really big spiritual experience? Yeah, that's the one. So what you thinking, Mahesh? You want to do something special? As a matter of fact, I did. I had just gotten back from Machu Picchu in Peru, which the New Age crowd thought of as one of the major power centers of the Earth. So for the harmonic convergence, I wanted to go to another one. You see, in my quest for nirvana, or samadhi, or the mystical equivalent of a permanent orgasm, the juice from 6 giant planets just wasn't enough. I had to help by going to Mount Shasta, preferably with Bruce. Count me in! And you can stay at my house on the way home so you don't have to make the long drive. Which was great because Bruce lived with his mother and they had a guest room. I had been seeking metaphysical experiences ever since I read Shirley MacLaine's Out on a Limb in one sitting on Yom Kippur, the highest of all Jews. In fact, I'd gone to Machu Picchu because Shirley had gone there. I wanted everything that happened to Shirley to happen to me. Out-of-body experiences, past life recalls, intercourse with aliens, social intercourse with aliens. I was an altered state junkie. There was one problem. It was kind of like my love life. I wanted a lot, but I wasn't getting any. But back then, a lot of people, I figured the harmonic convergence was my ticket. Back then, a lot of people, some with bodies, some without, were saying that for this brief window of time, we humans would have the chance to experience higher spiritual states, decades ahead of what we were presently capable of. It was almost like cheating. I mean, not cheating exactly, more like a Groupon for enlightenment. Become a Buddha for half off. I wonder what the tipping point would be for that. So when Bruce and I arrived at Shasta, I did everything I could to seduce the universe. I meditated. I visualized. I hugged the trees. I chanted. And I even spoke in a special airy, fairy voice. How are you? Wonderful. And yes, back then, it sounded just as stupid. But the most important thing was remaining calm. I mean, how could you expect to access higher spiritual states if you were the least bit agitated? So I stayed peaceful. And after a day and 3/4 of harmonic convergence, nothing happened. Hey Bruce, how are you enjoying the harmonic convergence? To tell you the truth, Mahesh, I can take it or leave it. That was exactly how I felt. I mean, I felt serene. After all, we were camping in the woods. Serene and dirty. And I felt a little bit of bliss. We were meeting some really pleasant people, and it was kind of like the feeling you get after a really nice wedding. But it wasn't 6 planets worth of bliss. And I had a feeling somewhere in Hollywood, Shirley was having a way cooler experience. So Bruce and I left Mount Shasta at 3 o'clock that afternoon. A few hours later, we arrived at the Happy Days Diner. When I opened the restaurant door, I knew that the harmonic convergence was over for me. And it had been a bust. To be perfectly honest, in my heart of hearts, there was some part of me that knew nothing was going to happen for me. So I wasn't surprised. I was disappointed and hungry. So Bruce and I ordered, and then he leaned over the table with this very intense look on his face. Mahesh, yeah, it was a disappointment for me too, and I have a favor to ask you. It's not a big deal, but, well, here it is. Please don't tell my mother about the weekend we just spent, cause she has a certain ritual I'd like to circumvent. If she finds out I've done anything new agey in the least, she'll turn me into her prisoner for a dinner with her priest. There'll be laptops with mint jelly, so the night will start off well. So Father Taylor takes his 3rd glass of his favorite Zinfandel, then he'll loudly tell me how I'll land in hell and why I'll fry. So when my mother asks about this weekend, lie. Wow, he certainly had a charge around that. And as for me, I'd like to say I got where Bruce was coming from. Looking back at it now, he sure as hell made sense. And I'd like to report I handled his plea with great aplomb. But I didn't. In fact, my reaction was sort of intense. You see, I couldn't lie to Bruce's mom about the weekend that we spent, because it conflicted with my concept of what spiritual meant, because I'd already been the victim of too many censorships, and I couldn't handle one more pair of handcuffs on my lips. When the waitress brought our supper, there was no way I could sup, because the fact that Bruce had asked me had me really riled up, and even though I'd spent the weekend quite content and kind of blissed, I swiftly passed him in a peace dinner pissed. How dare he ask me to lie for him? I wanted to run. I wish I could really bad. I was a volcano in need of spewing, so my anger continued accruing till I was uncontrollably, inexorably, absolutely, and for me, historically, unprecedentedly, monumentally mad. Shifted. Some force took over, and in a flash, my fury lifted, and whoosh, my mind completely cleared. Heck, even the restaurant disappeared, which made me nervous till I realized, oh, this could be a vision. I saw the earth as if from space, with small white blurs that were the human race, and I thought, were behaving as human beings always do. There was charity and loving kindness, along with theft and rape and murder too. And everything that happened had higher spiritual goals. It seems the good and bad we do to one another somehow helps us heal each other's souls. Thus, in this entire human race, there's not one of us that God cannot embrace. At least that's how it seemed, according to my... Wait, it was beginning to fade. At least that was implied, according to my... And it was gone. I don't know if it lasted 30 seconds or 3 minutes, but it was beautiful and way cool. I definitely felt like I got my full 6 planets with Harmonic Convergence. Apparently, you don't need to be calm. You don't need to be on Mount Shasta. You don't even need to be Shirley MacLaine. You can just be regular. You can just be ordinary. You can just be me. What a planet! When my mind came back to normal, I was absolutely calm. I forgot Bruce made me mad, or that he even had a mom. I would have asked him if he'd noticed I'd been in an altered state, but he was way too busy murdering free French fries on his plate. So my mood was so magnanimous, the waitress truly scored. I somehow slipped her $50 that I really couldn't afford.